All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest challenges in the digital world. It's a question that literally every business, every creator, and every marketer has to answer. And that question is this: how do you turn a complete stranger on the internet into a loyal, paying customer? I mean, really think about it. Out of the billions of people online, how do you find the right ones, grab their attention, earn their trust, and then convince them to actually buy from you? It can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a digital haystack.
But what if I told you it's not some big secret? And it's definitely not magic. It's actually a pretty well-defined process. It's a journey, and it has a very clear map that can guide someone from being a total stranger to becoming your biggest fan. So today, we're going to walk you through that map.
And our guide for this whole journey, it comes straight from the experts at Google. We're diving into their course, Attract and Engage Customers with Digital Marketing, and we're going to distill the core framework for you right here, right now.
Now, this isn't just some standalone lesson. The course we're drawing from is actually the second piece of a huge 7-course Google Professional Certificate. It's designed to take you from the absolute basics all the way to building real, lasting customer loyalty. We're going to be zeroing in on that crucial second step, how to attract and engage.
Okay, so let's get into it. Every great quest has a starting point, right? Well, in marketing, that starting point is always the same. You have to know exactly who you're talking to. You can't lead someone down a path if you don't understand them in the first place. And the number one tool for that is the customer persona. Now, this isn't just some vague idea you cook up. It's a detailed, fictional profile of your perfect customer, and it's all based on real research. What are their goals? What are their biggest frustrations? Where do they hang out online? Answering these questions is the foundation for everything else. You know, the course itself says it perfectly. The whole point is to use these personas to really get inside your consumer's head. And this is exactly why it's step one. Without this deep understanding, any marketing you do is pretty much just a shot in the dark. So, once you know who you're talking to, the very next step is to understand the path they take. And this is the core of our map today. It's the customer journey, and we often visualize it as a marketing funnel. So, what's a marketing funnel? It's just a simple model that shows the different stages someone goes through. It starts out really wide at the top with tons of potential customers, and then it gets narrower and narrower as they get closer to actually making a purchase, and even beyond that. The Google course breaks this journey down into 4 key stages. First, you have awareness. Then comes consideration, followed by conversion, and finally, loyalty. And here's the crucial part. You need a totally different strategy for each stage. So let's break them down one by one. Okay, let's start at the very top of the funnel, awareness. This is basically your first hello. It's that moment when a complete stranger finds out that you even exist. The goal here is super simple. Just get on their radar. The whole strategy is about attraction, cutting through all the noise online. Think about it. That first time you saw a targeted ad on social media or found a blog post that answered a question you just Googled, that was an awareness play. You had just entered the top of their funnel. All right, let's move down to the next stage and see how this all connects. Once somebody knows you exist, they enter the consideration phase. This is where they're thinking, okay, this is kind of interesting. Tell me more. So here, your goal is to build real, genuine interest. And you do that by helping them figure out if what you have is right for them. A big mistake people make here is just listing features. Great marketers focus on the benefits. How does this actually solve your customer's problem? This is when they start reading reviews, comparing you to your competitors. You're basically nurturing that little spark of curiosity. And that brings us to the pointy end of the funnel, conversion. This is the moment of truth. All that work you did on awareness and consideration, it all leads to this point, where interest has to become action. The main goal here is to make that final step as easy and compelling as possible. I mean, did you know the average online shopping cart abandonment rate is almost 70%? That's wild. It means 7 out of 10 people who add something to a cart just leave without buying. That's why making checkout super simple or throwing in a limited time offer is so critical. Every extra click is another reason for them to just give up. But hold on, the journey is not over once they make a purchase. Not even close. The most valuable customers are the ones who come back again and again. And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most important stage, loyalty. At this point, the goal completely shifts. It's all about keeping the customers you worked so hard to get. And this isn't just about feeling good, it's smart business. Getting a new customer can cost 5 times more than keeping an existing one. Things like follow-up emails, a rewards program,
or just amazing customer service are what turn a one-time buyer into a lifelong fan who tells all their friends about you. Okay, so we have our persona, that's the who, and we have our funnel, that's the path. But how do you actually move people along this path? You can't just cross your fingers and hope they figure it out. You need specific tools to build the road and put up the signposts. The course goes deep into a bunch of these, but we're going to focus on two of the most fundamental ones to get you started.
So let's look at the two main ways you get discovered on Google. First up is search engine optimization, or SEO. Think of this like long-term gardening. You're planting the right keywords, creating valuable content, and building a great website so that, over time, Google naturally shows you to people for free. On the other side, you have search engine marketing, or SEM. This is more like paying for a billboard on the digital highway. You pay Google to put your ad right in front of people searching for specific things. Both are absolutely critical for filling the awareness stage of your funnel, but they work on very different timelines and budgets.
So let's just pull all of this together for a second. We've gone from a huge, intimidating question to a really clear, actionable framework. What might have felt like a total mystery before now has a map.
And really, that's the ultimate takeaway. The power to turn strangers into customers comes from combining these two big ideas. First, deeply understanding who your customer is through a persona, and second, guiding them along the journey they naturally take using the marketing funnel. By understanding this framework, you're not just guessing anymore. You're not just throwing things at the wall and hoping something sticks. You're actually building a system. So the final question is for you. Now that you have the map, where will your marketing journey begin? Is it defining your customer persona, or maybe optimizing that first stage of awareness? The journey is yours to start.